it's Warrior Cats time. What's up guys, my name is Moo. I am a college student who loves reading and I'm here to share that love with all of you. Today we are doing a video that I'm very excited about. Warrior Cats! I got my hat on and I'm ready to party. So I had an idea the other day that I thought was really great. I am going to go through all of the Warrior Cats series as I finish them, and I'm going to review them, all 6 of the books at once, on my channel. If you're unfamiliar with Warriors, I'll get into the actual content of the books in a second, but the actual books alone, there's I think over 100 of them at this point. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the number is over 100. It could be anywhere from like 101 to 112. I don't know. But anyways, there's a lot of books. These books are broken up into, I think, 7 series now? Let's see. Let me see. We got Dawn of the Clans, The Prophecies Begin, The New Prophecy, Power of Three, Omen of the Stars, The First Apprentice, which is where I stopped reading in middle school, and then The Broken Code, and I think there's another one after this, so that's 8. I'm pretty sure I have the first book of the 8th series. I just don't remember what it's called. I'm surprised that I got these last 2, but there's a lot of series within the series. They're like little sub-series in the overarching Warrior Cats franchise. There's also super editions, and there's novellas, and there's actually some graphic novels and manga. It's a lot, and I've read almost all of them. But I'm rereading the series, I'm being a little weird, and I'm listing every cat that dies in the Warrior series. So yes, a little weird, I understand that, but listen, I wanted to know, and it's a lot more than I thought, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna look it up online, I'm just gonna go through the series again and do it myself, because who cares? What if I catch stuff that people don't catch, you know? So I'm doing it myself. I'm currently on the 2nd series release. Technically it's the 3rd series canonically, but it's the 2nd series that was released by Erin Hunter, the author. So I'm rereading that right now, and as I finish the series, I'm gonna talk about them, cause why not? I'm excited, I love it, I love this series, and make content out of what you love, right? Since the year started and I started my YouTube channel, I've read a lot of my books with content in mind. I read books that I believe I can finish in a certain amount of time, and then make a video about them, edit the video, upload the video, all that. It's a whole cycle. That's not happening as fast now. I really need to pick up the pace, but I was also reading Warrior Cats in between a lot of those books. I read Warrior Cats books really fast, usually in a day or 2. I mean, it's not happening right now because I have finals and oh my gosh, I'm dying. But on a regular basis, I usually finish Warrior Cats books in about a day or 2. I wasn't making content out of those books, so I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna multitask, I'm gonna read because I enjoy it, and I'm gonna read to make content. So these Warrior books are now content. So now we will be doing a series on my channel. You will be going through the Warrior series with me. I will talk about the highlights of this 6-book series, with exception to I think one. I think I'm gonna do a batch of super editions at one point, which you'll figure out what those are later. And then yeah, you just get to walk through the Warrior Cat series with me without having to read over 100 books. Isn't that lovely? So I think we should get into it. And let's talk about the first series canonically, Dawn of the Clans. Now, in the Warrior Cat series, there's the first series canonically, which is Dawn of the Clans, and there's the first series published, which was 2003, and it was The Prophecies Begin. I like reading through them chronologically. Have I been saying canonically this whole time? I meant chronologically, I know. Anyways, yes, I've been reading through them all chronologically. I have a list that I have, you know, the chronological order and I do it based on that. So I will be sharing the books with you chronologically. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So, as I said, Warrior series consists of 6 books. Here are the 6 books. As you can see, they are mostly the same, except for this book here. It's because, unfortunately, the artist who drew these covers passed away, so they had to do a whole rebranding. But I like the older covers, so I get the older covers when I can. Before we get into the specifics of Dawn and the Clans, let's do a run through. What is Warrior Cats? I'm sure many of you who grew up in elementary school past 2003 know Warrior Cats, but if you don't, I'll inform you. Warrior Cats is a series written by Aaron Hunter, who is actually multiple people writing under one pen name, and it's about these 4, sometimes 5 clans of cats who live in a forest together, and there's fighting disputes sometimes, but they usually live in synergy or synergistically. That's a big word, dude. They live in coexist together, and it's usually pretty fine, but sometimes they get in disputes and they fight, be it over territory or accusations of stealing prey, or sometimes there's evil cats that want to take territory, and that happens sometimes. But either way, they fight. That's why they're called warriors, because most of the cats in the clans are warriors. They're called warriors because they are cats who hunt and fight for their clans. These cats, basically, they live in society, there's hierarchy, there's actually religion, which I think is kind of crazy in a kid's book. They have a higher power called Star Clan. It's basically cat heaven, and I'm living for it. And yeah, and there's a lot of death, like I said. That's basically all you need to know. The roles are, there's 1 leader, 1 deputy, 1 medicine cat, and sometimes a medicine cat apprentice who will take over the role when the medicine cat dies. Hi, editing move. I did not describe what a medicine cat was. Good job. So a medicine cat is like the doctor of the clan, but also the one who gets messages from Star Clan of prophecies and like is the spiritual leader of the clan basically. So the medicine cat is the one who heals and the one who interprets signs from Star Clan and kind of has that dual job. So that's what a medicine cat is. They're not just the doctor of the clan, they're also the pope of the clan, I guess, that they interpret signs from Star Clan. So yes. Then there's warriors, there's elders who have served their clan, there's kids who are not old enough yet to be warriors, and then there's apprentices who are also not old enough to be warriors, but they're training to be warriors. So yes, I think that's all you need to know about warrior cats. I'm sure that was long and boring for you who don't care about warrior cats, but it's going to help a ton. So let's actually get into the specific series. Dawn of the Clans, as the title may suggest, is about the dawn of the clans. Wah! This batch of 6 books talks about the cats who move into the forest and create the 4 clans over the span of 6 books. So the summary of this series is basically there are these cats in the mountains and they are running out of prey and resources. Cats are dying every day of starvation. They don't have enough food for everybody. So they decide to split in 2, and half the cats stay in the mountains and the other cats search for a new home. We are following the cats searching for a new home. So there are 3 characters that are very integral to the plot that you should be aware of. There's Greywing, his brother Clear Sky, and Clear Sky's son Thunder. So these 3 cats are the most important in the series. Basically, they go on a journey. They follow the Rising Sun, I believe. Yeah, I believe the Rising Sun. And they find their new home, which is the forest where the clans settle. So all kind of goes well. They explore around. It's good. They're a group together. But Clear Sky doesn't like exactly where they settled. They settled in these moorlands, which is just long grass and open sky, but down the hill, just down the hill, is a forest, and Clear Sky likes that forest. Clear Sky would rather live there. So they basically get into arguments, and the group of cats again splits into two. They meet new cats in the forest along the way. They join the groups, but now there's two groups. And animosity flows between those two groups, and suddenly cats are getting angry. In the third book, this all escalates to the point where they decide to have a battle in the space called Four Trees. Four Trees is known as a sacred place later on in the books, but now it's just a place where this battle is happening. So the battle, there's no rules around it. There are rules in the later books, but since this is a new clan, there's no hierarchy, there's no government. Yes, there's government and law in Warrior Cats. I told you, this is just a little cat society. But there were no laws at this point, so they had a very bloody battle, and many cats died. Book 3 was when the most cats died. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think it was like 8 or 9, something like that. I really don't know. That battle happens, and so many of their friends died, and these cats realized, oh my gosh, we turned against cats that we loved. There was a brother and sister who killed each other because they were mad over disputes that shouldn't have happened, and they didn't need to happen, but they did anyways, and many cats died because of it. So things slow down after that. People aren't as angry after that. Throughout all this time, from books 2 on, thunder exists. Clear Sky met a cat that he fell in love with, and they had 3 kittens, except Storm, the cat, and 2 of her kittens died. So Thunder is the only one who survived, and Thunder grew up with Greywing because Clear Sky was so overcome with grief, he didn't want to raise Thunder. So Greywing is more of a father than Thunder ever was. Anyways, cats are realizing they want to go off on their own. They found places and territories within this whole forest, the moorlands, the forest. There's a river, there's pine trees and marshlands. These cats realize they kind of want to split up more. So it goes from 2 clans to 5, and that's the dawn of the clans. Basically, they don't have names yet by the end of the series, but the 5 clans are Thunder Clan, River Clan, Wind Clan, Shadow Clan, and Sky Clan. Sky Clan is not in all of the books, and you will find out later in other videos. But there are 5 clans that came to be, and this was the story of their beginning. I love this series. This lot of 6 books is one of my favorite. I think it's in my top 3 of my favorite of the Warrior sub-series within the whole franchise. I thought that it was a very creative, very well done way of how the clans came to be. And maybe that's just my nostalgia talking, but come on. It just is so great. I started reading these books when I was 10 years old, so I'm sure I look at these books through a lens of rose-colored glasses. They're definitely not perfect. They're definitely kind of cringy at some points. There's some points I go, ooh, that didn't age great. It's not bad, but there's some things where it's just like, okay. But I still love these books, and these 6 books in specific are some of my favorites. There were many characters I enjoyed reading about. I think my favorite character in this series was Thunder. I thought that he had a really determined but kind, intelligent personality And he also founded my favorite clan, ThunderClan, because I'm basic, I know. For all of you edgy ShadowClan cats, stans, whatever, I acknowledge that, but I still stand by ThunderClan being my favorite, and actually SkyClan being my second favorite. I really like the forest setting, probably because of where I grew up, so. But yes, I love ThunderClan the best, and I liked Thunder the best. I also liked Turtletail, who was Greywing's best friend and then mate, and I think those were my two favorite characters. But I liked Clear Sky too. He was an antagonist. He wasn't a villain, but he was an aggressor, and he picked fights, and I mean, he had reason to be so upset and snippy and all that because he dealt with a lot of terrible stuff in his life. But he's definitely an antagonist, and I really liked how he was written. And now for the part where we talk about the cat's deaths, because that's why I was reading the books. In total, within these 6 books, there are 27 deaths. So that is an average of about, I can't do math. Oh no. Hey Google. That's an average about 4.5 per book. So if we just round it up to 5, there's about 5 deaths per book. And I mean, if you look at it all, the 3rd book is definitely the deadliest because they all die in that battle. But on average, there's about 5 deaths per book in this series. I think when I started rereading the Warrior Cats and I picked up this series as my first reintroduction back into this series I loved, and I was recording the deaths, my eyes were like, why do they keep dying? You know? And I think it's because there were no laws that said you can't kill other cats that resulted in it being such a deadly series compared to other ones, because I'm pretty sure this was one of the more deadly series. But still, as someone who's coming back into the Warrior Cats books, that's crazy. Maybe I wouldn't have noticed it as much if I wasn't recording the deaths, because a lot of the deaths, the characters either mentioned dying off screen or it's just implied. But I think this was one of the more deadlier sub-series. I will now tell you about some of the most interesting deaths in this series. Brightstream was carried off by an eagle. She did not make it down the mountain. She was traveling with the rest of the group and she just got plucked up. And that's one of the reasons why Clear Sky was such an antagonist and so cold and mean and stuff, is because he was in love with her and she was gonna have his kittens, and then she got plucked by an eagle, so that happened. Storm, who is Thunder's mother, and Storm's 2 siblings, they were crushed in a falling building because the building was getting demolished. They got stuck in it. Sad. Moonshadow had a kind of very intense death. You don't see this very often, but he had a burn wound because there was a forest fire and he died of an infection from the burn wound. So again, this is a series for children. The recommended age is 8 to 12, so that's kind of intense. But it happened. And then Greywing, he didn't die in the fire. He didn't die anywhere after the fire, but Greywing had breathing complications. He inhaled so much smoke trying to save the other cats, therefore he had breathing complications for the rest of his life after. And I think it was maybe a year after, maybe a couple years, I don't remember exactly, but he died because of those complications. So that is a rundown of Dawn of the Clans. It's not in a ton of detail because I don't like making my videos very long. I'm sure there are extensive book reviews on the Warrior Cat series, but I'm just trying to make fun content. I'm trying to make content that is entertaining for both people who thoroughly enjoy Warrior Cats and for people that are being just introduced to Warrior Cats through my video. This series had such a big impact on the formative years of my life. I named a goldfish after one of the cats. It was ironically not a goldfish, it was a silver goldfish, so I named it Silverstream, which is a cat from the first series written. I wanted a cat so bad because of this series that I wrote an essay to my parents, and now I have 2 cats because of the Warrior Cats series. I've become a cat person because of this series. It has had such an impact on my life in the best way possible, and now I'm just gonna share my love for this series with all of you, because that's my job as a YouTuber. Even as a hobbyist YouTuber, I'm going to do that as my job. Share things with you. If you liked this video, make sure to like it. Comment down below the longest series you've ever read. And if you like the content I'm putting out, subscribe. If you like Warrior Cats, subscribe, because there will be more Warrior Cats videos in the future. Don't worry, it's not going to be a ton of Warrior Cats videos in a row. In fact, the next 2 videos I already know what I'm doing, and it is definitely not Warrior Cats. So there will still be a ton of content for you guys who don't enjoy Warrior Cats as much as I do, but I'm going to make content out of the things I love. But I think that's all for the day. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This has been Moo, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!